Hello and welcome back to my channel. So I firstly wanted to say just the biggest thank you to everybody that watched my last video, and particularly those who watched it and then gave me like some feedback or messaged me about it and told me that they really enjoyed it. Thank you so much, because particularly the first video that you put out there or blog or the first thing you do of anything really is really scary, because you don't really know how it's going to go down. It, might be a bit embarrassing if it drops like a lead balloon, or people might watch it and wonder what the heck you're going on about and why you're talking about it anyway, which I'm sure there were a few. And to those people, you don't have to watch, it's fine. I'm not going to take it personally. These are just videos for anybody who might find it interesting or helpful and all of that jazz. So thank you so much to, just everybody that's watched it, and thank you for being so kind and so generous, and lots of fuzzy feelings. So I actually had a completely different video planned for this week, but then I kind of got to thinking about filming and what I was going to say, and I realised that loneliness was something that had really been on my mind the last few days. It's on my mind every January, to be honest, which is why I wanted to talk about it now. Apologies for doing kind of two quite heavy videos in a row. I promise they're not all going to be like about super serious, hardcore topics, but I wanted to just talk about it while it was fresh in my mind, really, and whilst I've been kind of thinking through ways that I personally could handle my own feelings of being quite lonely at this time of year. And I will say, with a disclaimer, that I am by no means in a terrible situation. I have an incredible husband who is, my absolute rock. I think I said it in the video before, but he is. And I have amazing friends. I am very, very, very privileged in my surroundings. But that doesn't mean that I don't get lonely. And again, that's sort of why I wanted to talk about it, because I think we can so easily get into this mindset of, oh, well, I'm the only one feeling lonely, which just kind of makes the whole feeling of loneliness so much worse. So I think the reason it's been on my mind a lot is because I really struggle with January. It's my least favourite month for lots of reasons. I think the weather's normally pretty horrendous, which again has been the case this week. It's just been raining all the time. And particularly in the workspace that I'm in, January is my quietest month for work. It has been every year and that I've been doing this. So this is my, fifth January as a self-employed human. And January is meant to start, because for some reason we do this to ourselves every year, with all these, big New Year's resolutions and this motivation to make this year better than the last one, with New Year's resolutions and all of that. And while those are really, really good things, I struggle because you come back from Christmas and you're like, great, I've, been away from normality for a while. I'm looking forward to getting back into my own routine. But what I find is that I start January really, really motivated to, smash all these goals or whatever it might be. And for me, that's often, I'm going to be much braver about getting in contact with fixers or orchestras or messaging people asking if I can come play to them or have lessons, whatever it might be. And often I'll start off on doing all of that and it's really, really great. But then you kind of have this huge buildup of energy and motivation, and it kind of just goes out into like nothingness because, like I said, January's quite quiet. So you sort of have all of this like, I'm going to do all of these things. And then nothing really seems to come of them straight away. And I say straight away because every year the things that I've done in January have produced fruit for the rest of the year, so that's, you know, all great. But I'm talking about the immediate feeling after you've set all these goals, started out on them, and then it's like, great, now what do I do? I've got all of this stuff, I want to do all of the things, and nothing's happening. And for me, I really struggle with that, and it can lead to me becoming quite down and feeling really unfulfilled in my work, because what I love to do and what brings me more life than pretty much anything is performing and playing music and being on stage to a certain extent, willing to admit that, being around other musicians, working together, bringing a piece together, bringing a performance together. That's the thing that really, you know, sets my soul on fire. So when I haven't done that for 2-3 weeks, whatever, I get really, really down. So I have been trying to put into place a few things that I think can be really helpful, and I thought I would share them with you. This isn't like a 10 top tips like the last one. It's just literally a few things which are not new. These are not revolutionary ideas, but that's also kind of why I want to put them out there, because sometimes we just need reminding of the simple stuff, or at least I know I do anyway. So a really, really big one for me is getting out of the flat or the house or your workspace, whatever that looks like for you, and having a change of scene. So for me, I spend a lot of my day practicing, try to, most days. And obviously I can't do that in a cafe, would be a bit weird. So what I tend to do is I spend my morning practicing and then have some lunch, and then I'll take myself off to a cafe for the afternoon, and I will spend a couple of hours or so emailing people, doing my finance stuff, general life admin on my computer, but I will do that in a cafe or somewhere out and about. I am an extrovert to my core, which is why this career was probably a terrible idea, because you spend so much of your time on your own with a piece of wood with some strings attached to it. And I need that stimulus of other people around me. But I just find myself so much more motivated when I'm in an environment with other people. One thing I love to do is meet up with people who are also doing the same thing, either in the same career or even better, not in the same career as me. And then we'll work together in a cafe. And I'm actually starting up a little side note here. I'm actually starting up a group, I guess, of self-employed people in the Cardiff area. We're going to meet up in a cafe with the idea to do some work and just kind of motivate each other, have a space to bounce some creative ideas of each other, whatever that might be. Or even if it's something like, you know, you're going to send an email to a client and you want somebody to read it through before you send it. It's having people around you to do those things. And I'm going to be setting this up as of next Friday. So it's going to be on Friday mornings. I'm intending it to be about 10 till 1. So if you are in the Cardiff area, please, please, please do get in touch with me. I would love you to come and join the community. And it's just, again, a space to combat the loneliness of being self-employed. So if that's something that you would be interested in, let me know. I shall leave everywhere you can contact me below in the description of this video. So get in touch and let's get the ball rolling on that one. So I love running, and something that I've really, really loved is having a running buddy. So this is just somebody who we literally text each other every now and again and say, hey, do you want to go for a run this week? Find a time. She works on shift pattern, which actually works out quite well for, you know, our schedules to combine. So yeah, and that's just a really, really good opportunity to A, get out the house, B, get some fresh air and some exercise, and C, you can have a really good chat. When you're working away from home as well, if you, like me, you have to travel a lot for your work, stay with friends as much as possible. Not only is it cheaper, a lot cheaper than hotels. It's so much more fun if you can, you know, get back from rehearsal and have somebody to hang out with and chat. And it can just be a really, really good way of providing that quality time without having to take time away from work and worrying about loss of income and all those things. Meet a friend who is also doing that rehearsal, gig or whatever for coffee or lunch before. Hang out and use that opportunity to chat, because both of you are probably in the position where you find it difficult to meet up with friends, particularly on the weekends, because you're often working. So it can just be a nice little workaround. And if you are in a new environment, kind of suss out who you might, you know, want to hang out with, and then just ask them to go for coffee next day. Something which also, like, I find really hard is when friends don't quite understand the nature of your work. This tends to be existing friends who probably have kind of more 9-to-5 schedules, and it can be really, really hard to explain to them why, yes, okay, I might be free in 2 weekends' time currently, but by the time we get there, chances are I won't be, because work can come up so last minute. And because of the nature of that, if work comes up, we have to take it. I always explain to people, you know, if I turn down a gig, that's, let's say, a minimum of £130 gone. And I don't get holiday pay, I don't get overtime, I don't have a way of making that back. So you do have to be quite protective of your work in that sense. And that is really hard to explain to people, because, and I've had this conversation multiple times with friends and family of saying, I'm so sorry, you know, I can't be there because I have this, you know, I have this patch of work which I cannot financially say no to. With that, I will say that there is absolutely a time and a place for saying that family and friends come first, and your own discretion applies to those situations, and you've just got to make that call. But also, you know, the responsibility of that landing on you can be really, really tough. And I think this is a slight plea from somebody who is self-employed to anybody who isn't. Have a lot of grace and a lot of patience with your friend or family member who is working for themselves, because the financial instability is real, and it is something that we just have to be on top of and sensible about. Like, do you take 2 weeks off work unpaid? Probably not. So just bear that in mind when you are planning things and talking to people, and don't get offended if they can't do something because of work. They're not throwing you over because they'd rather do something else. Well, they might be, but that's a conversation you need to have with them. So one thing that I started doing, I want to say from the start of December, it was around about that time anyway, is every morning I go outside. Now, the only stipulation that I have with myself is that I walk outside. So that if that involves walking downstairs, opening the front door, stepping outside, shutting it behind me, looking around, going back in again and going back upstairs, that's fine. If that is all I can manage that day, then that is fine. But more often than not, I set a timer for 15 minutes and I will walk or run 15 minutes, normally to the local park, because that's just my favourite place to go, and there's so many dogs there and it just brings me joy. I'll listen to a podcast, I'll listen to music, sometimes I don't listen to anything, and I just get outside. I get moving and I get some fresh air, and it just makes the world of difference. The world is kind of waking up, people are starting their commute into town, there's kids with their parents going into school, there's people walking their dogs, there's other people walking, running, doing the same thing I am. And it just makes you realise that there is a world out there. Because otherwise you can get up, get yourself ready, have some breakfast, sit down, start working, and you actually don't really connect with the outside world at all. And it's so easy to do, which kind of scares me a little bit. So I have 3 little kind of challenges, I guess, that I'm going to be doing this week, and I would really, really love to encourage you to try as well. So the first one is that get outside every day. I don't care if it's raining, get a waterproof coat, take out your umbrella, just get wet. My mum has this phrase, and anybody watching this who knows my mum will laugh at this, but she has a phrase of "you won't dissolve," which I used to hate it. As a kid, we used to go on quite a lot of walks, and it would be raining, and we'd be like, "I don't want to go, it's gross," and my mum would just be like, "Oh, you won't dissolve," and now I say it, so there's that to deal with. So the second one is speak to a friend, and when I say speak to a friend, I mean like FaceTime, go for coffee, give them a call, don't just like drop them a text. Have a good quality conversation with a friend once a week. I don't notice that I haven't had a good one-on-one honest conversation with a friend for too long until it's too late. So this is something this is my main one, is talk to a friend, have a good quality conversation once a week, and texting does not count. And the third one is, if you are somebody who is self-employed or you just tend to work from home a lot of the time, work out of your home once a week. Go out to a cafe, take yourself out for lunch, treat yourself, go to a restaurant, whatever. Just get out of your normal day-to-day environment and shake it up a little bit, and I promise you will feel a million times better for it. So that's it really for this one. Sorry, it's been a bit rambly because this is literally just what I've been thinking about this week, so my thoughts are not totally coherent on it, I guess, but I just wanted to put something out there which I think we all feel from time to time, not just self-employed people, not just people in 9-to-5s, not just musicians, not just performers, like everyone gets lonely. And I think it can be the people who we would presume never get lonely who are often feeling it the most. That's been what's been going through my mind. So if you like hearing my rambly thoughts, please like and subscribe. And yeah, check out my video from last week. I did one all about imposter syndrome and just the ways that I've found to kind of tackle that and deal with it and all of those things. I like to ramble a lot on Instagram stories because, again, apparently this isn't enough talking and I need to do it more. So if you would enjoy that, then come follow me on Instagram, get involved with the conversation there. And yeah, I will see you in the next video, which I will try and make a slightly more light-hearted topic. No promises, but I will try. Bye.